Good morning, loves. Welcome to Wednesday. It is Wednesday, September 27th. My name is PK. This is Bookeemonsters. And every day of the work week, Monday through Friday, we look at the new releases of each week. And each day of the week, we look at a different genre. Today is Wednesday. We look at fantasy and science fiction. And if there's time, some more cozy mysteries. I thank you very much for being here. If you are here for the first time, welcome. If you are a returner, welcome back. If you're watching it live, good morning. If you're watching it later, I hope you're having a good day. So let's jump in. The time goes by very quickly. We are here for the next 25 minutes. And then the bell sounds. All right, let's start with The Pomegranate Gate by Ariel Kaplan, first in a series. Let me get rid of the banner. By Ariel Kaplan. The first adventure in the Mirror Realm cycle, a Spanish Inquisition who nobody expects era fantasy trilogy inspired by Jewish folklore with echoes of Naomi Novik and Catherine Arden. It's like they're doing wines with echoes of peach and smoke. Toba Perez can speak, but not shout, sleep, but not dream. She can write with both hands at once in different languages, but she keeps her talents hidden at her grandparents' behest. Naphtali Kresk sees things that aren't real and dreams things that are. Always the family disappointment, Naphtali would still risk his life to honor his father's last wishes. After the queen demands every Jew convert or face banishment, Toba and Naphtali are among thousands of Jews who flee their homes. Defying royal orders to abandon all possessions, Toba keeps an amulet she must never take off. Naphtali smuggles a century-old book he's forbidden to read, but the Inquisition is hunting these particular treasures, and they're not hunting alone. Toba stumbles through a pomegranate grove into the mirror realm of the Mazik, mythical, terrible immortals with an inquisition of their own, equally cruel and even more powerful. With the Mazik kingdoms in political turmoil, this inquisition readies its bid to control both realms. In each world, Toba and Naphtali must evade both inquisitions long enough to unravel the connection between their family heirlooms and the realm of the Mazik. Their fates are tied to this strange place, and it's up to them to save it. That sounds interesting. I like the Jewish connection. You don't see that a whole lot. The Witches of Bone Hill by Ava Morgan. It's a nice cover, too. Cordelia. This is Nordic. Cordelia Bone's meticulously crafted life and career in Dallas are crashing down around her thanks to a philandering husband with criminal debts. When her older, carefree sister Eustace, a cannabis grower in Boulder, calls to inform her that the great aunt they never met has died, and they must travel to a small town in Connecticut to deal with the estate, she sees an opportunity to unload the house and save herself. But once there, the sisters learn they are getting much more than they bargained for. The Victorian mansion they stand to inherit is bound in a dynasty trust controlled by their late aunt's aging attorney, who insists they retain and inhabit the house but keeps them in the dark about the peculiar rituals of their ancestors. Not to mention a sexy tattooed groundskeeper with a shrouded past who refuses to leave the carriage house and a crypt full of dead relatives living at the property line. As both women grapple, I bet they don't say that when they list it. As both women grapple with their current, but it is cozy, with their current predicament, they come face to face with the haunting family secret, the truth of what happened to their mother and the enemy that's been stalking them from the shadows for generations. In a twisting torrent of terror and blood, okay, this is horror, not fantasy, the sisters must uncover the power within them to heal their fractured relationship, reverse their mysteriously declining health, and claim the lineage they wanted to escape but now must embrace if they are to survive at Bone Hill. Sorry, it seems to be more horror. And we don't really do horror. What Became of Magic by Paige Critcher. Aline Weir, a witch who can talk to ghosts, has kept her talents hidden ever since a disastrous middle school slumber party, choosing to be invisible and use her powers in secret to help lost souls reunite with the keys to send them home. All the while, she finds solace in a bookstore and the three mysterious women who run it until Aline discovers the Book of Mischief and her powers are enhanced. Living a solitary life until the age of 30, Aline's life takes an unexpected turn when the wrong, or perhaps right person, witnesses her using her powers, and she is invited to a town that doesn't exist on any map. Arriving in Matchstick, Aline learns of a lost magic that desperately needs to be found, and only her unique powers can do it. But what she's not told is that magic is a person, one that is dangerous and seductive, and has been waiting for a witch with a power like hers for centuries. All right, and then copy is required. All right, let's go to newinbooks.com. Okay, let's start with fantasy. Let's see if which way it's gonna let me go. The Feared Witch Hunter by Sarah Nofke and Michael Anderle, Kindle Unlimited, 6th in series. Being a demigod is confusing. Luckily, there's a way that Rose Beaufort can find answers. All she has to do is find the one person who can help her understand who she is. How hard is it to find one guardian angel? Rose is about to find out. I just had a flash that all she needs to do is click her heels 3 times, but it was within you all along, my dear. If she finds her guardian angel, then they'll tell her what being a demigod entails. Meanwhile, the Shadow Walker Coven is up to something sinister. They figured out how to pause time, but only for magicians. What they do when magicians are on pause, well, it's everyone's worst nightmare. Can Rose stop Mephora Pain before she brings down the House of 14 for good? Well, it looks like the cover art was by a guy, because that little suit seems to fit every curve, and she's got a lot of them. Just saying. This Will Defend by Martha Carr, first in a new series. And Michael Anderle. What's up with this Mike Anderle guy? Adina Moorfield and Bravo team are back for another mission. Illegal arms are moving through the Ural Mountains. But things with Hellion have changed a little since Adina's team saved the world from monsters running the show for good, and someone else's secrets are getting in the way this time. Will Emily Trigger let her past interfere with getting the job done? A dangerous blow hurts the Hellion team more than ever, and Emily is temporarily reassigned to the Prodigal Sons, her second chance. A newly emerging danger is being kept secret even from Bravo team. An old evil has found a way to crawl out of his prison deep under the ground. The living skeleton of Heka, the ancient god of magic, now walks the earth again, looking to regain his throne. Will a new warrior rise to the challenge? Can Emily set aside the secret she's been carrying long enough to help her new team, defeat this powerful enemy? Emily's twin brother is missing and presumed dead, but Emily doesn't believe that's the end of the story. Can she hold out long enough to discover the truth? Defeating Heka and his legion of mystical beasts will take everything the Prodigal Sons has got, and maybe even a little help from some familiar faces. I like my fantasy more fantasy. Not necessarily cozy, but more epic, more journey, more Lord of the Rings-ish. Dragon's Keep by Joshua Hans Davidson, first in a series. This looks to be middle gradish, maybe. Garen is on the run for his life. Kara is a princess with no allies. Each will need the other to survive what is to come. 15-year-old Garen has been running from his father's enemies his whole life. Hunted and isolated, he stays one step ahead of them by following the rules. But he grows restless as his loneliness mounts. Determined to turn the tables on his enemies, Garen decides to break the rules, capital R. Chaos ensues, and he finds himself in another world where he meets others who are gifted like him. In this new world, he finds all the things he's always wanted: friendship, companionship, community. But the enemy's strength is only growing, with a might Garen's allies cannot overpower. Pinned down and surrounded, Garen must make an impossible choice. Will he choose life at the expense of everyone he loves, or will he make the ultimate sacrifice? I bet he finds a way around that. That's just me. This one's a big name, and I had that one kind of bookmarked to look at. Good morning, Rebecca. Yeah, there's elements that I'm liking, but not enough right now to make me, jettison everything I'm reading and go out and buy it. But there's elements there, something to keep an eye on. The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab, a big name, and I think this is a continuation of her previous series. One of them. Once there were 4 worlds, nestled like pages in a book, each pulsing with fantastical power and connected by a single city, London, until the magic grew too fast and forced the worlds to seal the doors between them in a desperate gamble to protect their own. The few magicians who could still open the doors grew more rare as time passed, and now only 3 Antari are known in recent memory: Kel Maresh of Red London, Delilah Bard of Grey London, and Holland Boschik of White London. But barely a glimpse of them have been seen in the last 7 years, and a new Antari named Kosika has appeared in White London, taking the throne in Holland's absence. The young queen is willing to feed her city with blood, including her own, but her growing religious fervor has the potential to drown it instead. And back in Red London, King Rai Maresh is threatened by a rising rebellion, one determined to correct the balance of power by raising the throne entirely. These 2 royals from very different empires now face very similar struggles: how to keep their crowns and their own heads. Amidst this tapestry of old friends and new enemies, a girl with an unusual magical ability comes into possession of a device that could change the fate of all 4 worlds. Her name is Tess, and she's the only one who can bring them together or unravel it all. It's an interesting cover. I like it. I like it. I do have the previous series that this is connected to on my TBR someday. The Hexologists by Josiah Bancroft. The Hexologist and Warren Wilby are quite accustomed to helping desperate clients with the bugbears of city life. Aided by hexes and a bag of charmed relics, the Wilbys are recovered children abducted by chimney wraiths, removed infestations of barb-nosed incubi, and ventured into the gray plains of the unmade, capital U, to soothe a troubled ghost. Well acquainted with the weird, they never shy away from a challenging case. But when they are approached by the royal secretary and told the king pleads to be baked into a cake, going so far as to wedge himself inside a lit oven, the Wilbys soon find themselves embroiled in a mystery that could very well see the nation turned on its head. I would say that needs more of a psychiatrist type of visit. Their effort to expose a royal secret buried under 40 years of lies brings them nose to nose with a violent anti-royalist gang, avaricious ghouls, alchemists who draw their power from a hell-like dimension, and a bookish dragon who only occasionally eats people. Armed with a love toughened by adversity and a stick of chalk that can conjure light from the darkness, hope from the hopeless, Iz and Warren Wilby are ready for a case that will test every spell, skill, and odd magical artifact in their considerable bag of tricks. What is intriguing me about this is the language. You can tell sometimes in the descriptions sort of the level of intelligence behind it, and that sort of had a fun tripping against the tongue kind of verbiage that intrigues me. I'm not really into elements of scary things, but that I would maybe check out more. Okay, we're venturing into sci-fi. Vanishing Bodies by Moses Yurevich Mikheyev. Sounds Slavic or Russian. Many people dream of starting over. For Adam Micah, it's an unending nightmare. On a February morning, a naked young man grabs the New York Times from a woman eating breakfast at a sidewalk cafe, scans the obituaries, uses her revolver to shoot himself, and vanishes. Sounds like a Tuesday. He is Aristotle Zer McIntyre, also known as Adam Micah. He discovers he's a vanisher, someone who disappears when he's killed, only to resurface elsewhere with nothing but hazy memories. An entity known only as the Wisher is hunting him, and he's involved in a game he doesn't understand. Sometimes they shoot him outright, sometimes he does it to evade them, but each time he loses a little more of himself. When he rematerializes in Atlanta, he meets Lillian for the first time, and for the first time is shown love. In her presence, he is home, and life finally makes sense. But Lillian has ties to a past neither of them knows about, one that could destroy everything. Taking on the boundaries of science, physics, and the catastrophic consequences of immortality, Adam takes a dangerous dive into interpreting mortality, conspiracy, desperation, and his own natural need for answers. For fans of Isaac Asimov, Blake Crouch, Robert Heinlein, and Michael Crichton. Sounds like some depth there. Borrowed Time. I checked this out yesterday, I think. I did, by John Nolte. Joshua Mason is an everyday man cursed with immortality. We have a theme. Joshua Mason has been alive for thousands of years. He doesn't know how or why it happened, only that he can die like any man, but will always return. When you live forever, everything you love will die, so he decided long ago to not become attached. Sounds like Highlander. That all changed when he met Doreen. With her, he found something more than the woman he loves. After thousands of years of wandering, he found his place in the world. Now she's dying of old age. Distraught, Joshua promises to look after Charlie, Doreen's grandson, who is 36, but forever a child due to a terrible brain injury. Keeping Charlie safe means making money to keep Charlie's world, a crumbling motel in the middle of a barren desert, afloat. Mason makes this money by selling his life on the dark web to wealthy people who enjoy the ritual of murdering him. Ew. And now, when Mason only wants to mourn the loss of his wife, he discovers he sold his life to some very dangerous people, and that Charlie is not as innocent as he seems. Yeah, it took a weird turn. Fractured Dark by Megan E. O'Keefe. Second in series. Sorry, coffee. More coffee is required. Dying planets, dangerous conspiracies, and secret romance abound in the second book of the Devoured Worlds trilogy, a rising space opera star, Megan E. O'Keefe. Nera and Tarquin have escaped vicious counter-revolutionaries, misprinted monsters, and the pull of a dying planet. Now bound together to find the truth behind the blight that has been killing habitable planets, they need to hunt out the Mercator family's secrets. But when the head of Mercator disappears, taking the universe's remaining supply of starship fuel with him, chaos breaks loose between the ruling families. Nera's revolution must be put aside for the sake of humanity's immediate survival. Interesting. The spice must flow. The story of Dune, from cult novels to visionary sci-fi movies. Nonfiction, but I love Dune. Dune was my gateway to sci-fi. I, to this day, can see in junior high finding that book, what the cover looked like in the junior high library, pulling it from the shelf and just expanding. Let's see. Using original deep access reporting, extensive research, and insightful commentary, The Spice Must Flow brings the true popularity of Dune out into the light for the very first time, with original interviews with the beloved actors and directors behind the films, including blah, 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 blah. Also examines the far-reaching influence of Dune on art, music, politics, and most notably its status as the first ecological science fiction story specifically concerned with climate change. Not really. Don't twist it. But that does sound interesting to me. Under 300 pages. Can you really cover that in under 300 pages? I don't know. Big Book of Cyberpunk. Jared Shurin is the author. It's an anthology, obviously, but it looks kind of interesting. Almost 40 years ago, William Gibson wrote the line that began Neuromancer, and a movement that would change the face of science fiction. Award-winning anthologist Jared Shurin brings together over 100 stories from more than 25 countries that both establish and subvert the classic cyberpunk tropes and aesthetic. From gritty near-future noir to pulse-pounding action, urban rebels undermine monolithic corporate overlords. Daring heists are conducted through back alleys and the darkest parts of the online world. There's dangerous new technology, cybernetic enhancements, scheming AI, corporate mercenaries, improbable weapons, and roguish hackers. These tales examine the near now, extrapolating the most provocative trends into fascinating and plausible future. That actually sounds very interesting to me. We are running out of time. The Navigating Fox by Christopher Rowe. Quintus Schwal, the world's only navigating fox, is in disgrace after guiding an expedition to its doom, leaving no survivors. 1 year later, Quintus is offered the chance to redeem himself. He will need to lead a motley, fractious team, both human and animal, all the way to the gates of hell. The Siren and the Song and the Spy, young adult, second in series. The Undetectables by Courtney Smith. There is no description there, so that would have to be looked at on your book dealer of choice. The Dark Descent by Kaylin Josephson, also a young adult fantasy. All right. That is all the time we have today. I thank you very much for stopping by. I hope you have a very good Wednesday. Today is my wedding anniversary. Both Steve and I have been so caught up in keeping the business up and running and being shorthanded and stuff. I totally forgot until yesterday. So I have to go grab something, grab a card and stuff. So I got to get going. But it's been 26 years today. It has gone by very quickly. It does not seem like that at all. But again, thank you very much. I hope you have a fabulous Wednesday. And I hope you're reading good books. I do not have any sprints tonight. And I don't believe Sarah does either. So you're on your own. We can do it. We can do this. But again, thank you for stopping by. Hit the like, hit subscribe, tell people about us. We'd love to grow the channel. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom 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 nom. God bless.